He kneels on the flight deck before the aircraft comes to a stop. One knee presses into steel that vibrates beneath him. The surface is warm, almost hot. The noise is constant, heavy, physical. Jet engines scream so close that sound is no longer something he hears, but it's something he feels in his chest. Wind pushes against his helmet, exhaust rolls past his legs. The smell of jet fuel hangs low over the deck. Around him, the carrier keeps moving. Not fast, but never still. The aircraft in front of him inches forward. Yellow shirts guide it with sharp, precise movements. The nose wheel turns. The jet settles into position. Everything happens quickly, but nothing is rushed. He lowers himself again. The same movement he has made countless times before. His hand hovers just above the deck. His eyes drop to the wheels. He stays there, steady, while the aircraft vibrates harder with each change in power. Another jet waits behind him, and another behind that. This moment repeats itself over and over. Daylight or darkness, calm seas or rough seas. The pattern never changes. He kneels, the aircraft prepares, the deck roars. No one speaks to him. No one looks at him. Yet nothing moves forward without this pause. This movement is not unusual on the flight deck. It doesn't mark a special launch. There's no emergency, no extra attention. He kneels like this for every fighter jet that leaves the ship. Morning launches, night launches, aircraft heavy with fuel or light and fast. The conditions change, but his position does not. The same knee touches the deck, the same distance to the wheels, the same brief pause before the next step begins. This has been done for decades. Long before this specific aircraft, long before this ship. Different uniforms, different aircraft generations, the movement remains. New sailors learn it early. Experienced ones never stop doing it. No one on deck treats it as symbolic. No announcement explains it. The launch sequence does not slow down to highlight it. And yet, without this moment, the launch does not continue. So, the natural question is, even for those watching from a distance, why does he kneel? Why, in a place defined by speed, noise, urgency, does everything briefly wait for one man to lower himself to the deck? This happens on the flight deck of an aircraft carrier, a space built for speed but constrained by steel. The deck is not wide, but it is packed with aircraft, cables, crews, and moving machinery. Every square meter is already assigned a purpose. The ship itself is never still. It pitches and rolls beneath the deck, sometimes gently, sometimes without warning. Wind direction shifts as the carrier turns into it to launch aircraft. Heat rises unevenly from the metal surfaces warmed by sun and engines. Sound dominates everything. Jet engines, alarms, hand signals replacing voices. Communication relies on movement, not speech. A missed signal can stop a launch or send people scrambling clear. There is no safe distance. Aircraft pass within arm's reach. Intake suction can pull loose objects across the deck. Exhaust blasts can knock a person off balance. The surface is slick with salt, fuel, and hydraulic fluid. Time pressure is constant. Launch cycles follow strict windows. Aircraft must leave the deck in a specific order. Delays ripple forward, affecting fuel, recovery schedules, and the ship's rhythm. Yet the work never feels rushed. Every action follows a sequence learned through repetition. Each crew member focuses on a narrow task, trusting others to do the same. This environment rewards precision and punishes distraction. Small errors are amplified by noise, motion, and force. On this deck, danger is the ordinary, controlled only by discipline and attention. At night, the deck is lit by harsh, focused lights. Shadows cut across painted lines and warning markings. Goggles tint vision green. Depth becomes harder to judge. Rain or spray reduces traction even further. Every condition changes how the same job must be performed without changing the standards that define success. Fatigue accumulates slowly, even when movements appear identical from one launch to the next on-deck operations. He is the deck crewman assigned to the final checks before launch. His jersey color marks his role, but his name does not matter. What matters is his position. He stands at the edge of the launch sequence, between preparation and commitment. He does not command the aircraft. He does not authorize the mission. He cannot delay the schedule on his own. His authority is narrow and absolute at the same time. If he signals stop, everything halts. If he signals clear, the system moves forward. He learned this role through repetition, not speeches. Training placed him beside operating engines early, under supervision, until proximity stopped feeling dramatic and started feeling normal. He was taught where to look, where to stand, and when to move away. Most importantly, he was taught when not to move. In the hierarchy of the deck, he answers upward and protects downward. Pilots rely on him without seeing him. Catapult crews rely on his signal before applying force. Others clear the area based on his posture. He works within seconds-long windows. His judgment must fit inside procedures written to remove guesswork. There is no room for interpretation beyond what the checklist allows. He carries no tools. His equipment is his vision, timing, and restraint. When he kneels, he becomes the last human filter between a complex machine and open air. The job is quiet, repetitive, and unforgiving, which is exactly why it exists. His presence compresses risk into a final glance, ensuring the launch reflects training rather than luck under pressure during routine operations at sea daily. He kneels because standing hides details. From above, a landing gear looks solid and aligned. From ground level, small problems reveal themselves. Hydraulic fluid gathers low. A slow leak does not spray outward. It seeps downward. A loose panel does not flap high. It trembles near the wheels. Kneeling brings his eyes to the plane where these signs appear first. The position fixes his perspective. His head stays level with the axle. His line of sight runs along the tire, the strut, the brake assembly. He checks symmetry without measuring. Training teaches him what normal looks like, so anything outside it stands out immediately. He looks for a movement that shouldn't exist, a vibration that does not match engine power, a tire that flexes unevenly under load, a hose that shifts as pressure builds. None of these mean failure by themselves, but each asks a question that must be answered before the launch can continue. Kneeling also stabilizes his body. The deck moves, exhaust pushes, noise distracts. Lowering himself reduces sway and keeps his balance predictable. A steady body supports a steady gaze. On a deck where even standing still requires effort, this matters. His sequence is short. He does not have time to search. His scan follows a pattern learned through repetition. Wheel, strut, doors, deck beneath. The order never changes. Changing it invites hesitation. Hesitation costs seconds that do not exist. Every check connects to a consequence. A missed leak can lead to a brake failure on landing. A misaligned wheel can stress the catapult shuttle. If he sees something wrong, his response is simple. He crosses his arms above his head. No shouting, no explanation. The signal alone is enough. Power comes back. The sequence resets. Investigation follows. If he sees nothing wrong, that absence is his confirmation. He does not celebrate it. He does not linger. He rises, steps clear, and signals forward. His approval lasts only a second, but it carries the weight of everything he just checked. The kneeling is not optional. It is written into a procedure because it reduces uncertainty at the last possible point. Technology assists earlier. Sensors monitor engines, systems check themselves, but none of those systems replace the final human assessment made at the level where failure begins. This is why he kneels every time. Not because launches are dramatic, but because they're unforgiving. The posture forces attention, limits distraction, and places responsibility exactly where it belongs. Close to the machine, close to the risk, and just before commitment becomes irreversible. Many people assume that the kneeling is a ritual. On the flight deck, rituals do not survive long. Anything that adds time or confusion is removed. This movement exists because the body learns faster than words. Training turns the kneel into automatic behavior, repeated until it happens without thought. In a high-noise environment, automatic actions are safer than remembered instructions. There is no ceremony attached to it, no pause for meaning. The deck does not slow down to acknowledge the moment. The kneel is simply the fastest way to put the eyes where they need to be. Safety on a carrier is built from physical necessity. Angles matter. Distance matters. Gravity pulls problems downward. Kneeling aligns the human body with those facts. If standing worked just as well, standing would be used. It does not. Experience proved that errors were missed when inspections were done higher, farther away, or while moving. Over time, the movement stayed while others disappeared. Not because it looked disciplined, but because it prevented small issues from becoming large ones. Calling it a ritual suggests tradition for tradition's sake. This is the opposite. It is a learned response to a risk that continues to protect lives every day. When something is missed on the flight deck, the timeline collapses quickly. Engines move from idle to full power in seconds. Forces increase faster than a person can react. What was a small mechanical issue at low speed becomes a serious hazard once the aircraft commits to launch. There is no gradual failure phase. Systems either hold or they do not. A loose component can break free under acceleration. A fluid leak can affect braking during recovery. A misaligned part can place unexpected stress on equipment designed to work within tight limits. The deck offers no margin to correct these problems later. Once the aircraft reaches the catapult, options narrow. Once it launches, they disappear. This is why the checks happen before motion becomes force. Errors on a carrier rarely come from one dramatic mistake. They come from small oversights stacking together. Noise hides cues. Fatigue dulls attention. Familiarity convinces people they have already seen enough. Discipline interrupts that process. It forces the same actions in the same order, even when nothing appears wrong. When a fault is caught early, the outcome is quiet. Power comes back, the aircraft is inspected, schedules adjust, most people never notice. When a fault is missed, consequences are immediate and difficult to contain. The environment amplifies every problem. Heat, motion, and speed remove time from the equation. This is why restraint matters more than confidence. The system is designed so that stopping feels ordinary and continuing requires confirmation. The kneeling check exists because it creates a final pause where attention is highest and assumptions are lowest. It is not meant to prevent every possible failure. It exists to prevent the ones that grow too fast to manage once the deck commits to motion. This moment does not stand on its own. It is just one link in a chain that stretches across years of operations. He will kneel thousands of times during this assignment. Most of the launches will blur together. No incident, no deviation. That repetition is not accidental. It is how reliability is built in an environment that never becomes safe. On an aircraft carrier, trust is procedural. Every person trusts the next not because they know them, but because they perform the same actions the same way every time. The kneeling check fits into that structure. It is predictable. Others plan around it. Entire launch cycles depend on its consistency. The work is divided so that no one carries the whole burden. Pilots focus on flight. Catapult crews manage force. Deck crews manage space. This separation only works if each role is executed without improvisation. What looks like a small gesture is actually a compression of experience. The movement carries lessons learned from earlier mistakes, corrected quietly and folded into routine. No announcement marks those lessons. They survive only through behavior that continues to work. This is why the action remains unchanged even as aircraft evolve. Materials improve, systems become more advanced, but the human body, eyes, and limits stay the same. The kneeling persists because it connects modern machinery to human attention. It's not about one launch or one crewman. It is about sustaining control across thousands of moments where nothing is allowed to go wrong. He kneels again as another aircraft rolls into position. The movement is identical to the first time. Same distance, same posture, same focus. Nothing about it signals importance to anyone not trained to look for it. The jet leaves the deck moments later. The space fills with noise, then clears. The cycle continues. Now the action reads differently. Not as habit, but as intent. Not as tradition, but as control. This brief pause exists so that everything else can move forward without surprise. It is quiet by design, effective because it draws no attention. On the flight deck, the most important actions often look small. They are meant to. What do you think when you see a sailor kneel beside a fighter jet just before takeoff? Let us know in the comments. Let's keep honoring these quiet military legends and keep telling the human stories of life at sea. The routines, the discipline, and the responsibility behind every mission. Thanks for watching Military Legends. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next story.